Welcome back to the show. We got a great one lined up. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show. You can follow us on Twitter, YouTube, and digperspectives.com for exclusive content. $2.42 trillion market cap for cryptocurrency. The market is off 2.9%. Bitcoin now 64,400 plus, Ethereum 3,100 plus, Tether $114 billion plus market cap. XRP at the number 6 spot holding its own at 60 cents. We're off by 6.5 in the 24-hour, up 0.6 on the 7-day. USDC market cap at number 7, 33 billion plus. I want to remind you that by September 30th is the end of Q3. We're supposed to see the real USD somewhere around that time frame. Could be anywhere from now until the end of Q3, give or take. And I'm super excited about it. That's a 60-day window. We could get the ruling from Judge Annalisa Torres any second, because that is really a window that we're in, that 60-day window for her rulings typically. So this is a really hot window for a couple things to jump off here with the case and the real USD launching. I'm reminding everybody right now that the XRP ledger will have that new real USD, but so will the Ethereum network. So at $383 billion market cap plus the 34 billion we have, that's over $400 billion worth of market cap that the real USD is about to be introduced to. So I am super excited about that, and I hope you guys are getting excited about it too. Ranging between 60 and 65 cents, you can see is kind of taking a breath and cooling off, but hopefully not too much of a breath, right? Because I know all of us know that we get above the 70, 75 cents line, things are going to get very real around here, according to the technical analysts. So we couldn't be more excited to see that happen. But before we do that, we know that there's a lot of adversity out here, and a lot of there's a lot of weird things happening that it really have become normal, right? And it goes all the way back to the country shutting down from a pandemic, right? And then everybody being forced to get shots. This is how they did it. They turned the economy off. And you think about it, there's only a few hundred families that really run the world. And they stopped billions of people from going to work every day. They shut the world off. And then come to find out that they shut the world off and kept us closed doored to other options of things that would work while they tried to force a shot on us that doesn't work. I talk about this because I'm scared of the moment that we're in, and I'm concerned about what people may try to do again in order to interfere with an election possibly, or create real problems because they didn't win one. And I'm not so concerned about it just because of the fact that, this side wants power and this side wants power, and we don't want to lose power, so we'll do anything to keep the power. That's not what this is. And if you're in the Freedom Zone, you know exactly what I'm talking about here. And I need to do this because I want to share something with you. Because the reality is that this, to me, is a moment in our history of our country, and we go into this heavily in the Freedom Zone and other things. But this is a very, very big deal, this moment we're coming up to in our country. We had a great talk about this last night in the Freedoms or in the DPMG, but the reason I'm bringing this up is because we have seen the manipulation from the mainstream media and the government itself. And it's scary, right? This was a clip that I found this morning, and it's Dr. Richard Urso about hydroxychloroquine, and he goes through all the benefits of it and how it can help reduce this, improve that, the tolerance this, the tolerance that, and about how safe ivermectin is and was then to use, and how this is very safe too, and that it's just ludicrous that they did this to us where they wouldn't allow doctors to actually treat patients with other medicines that work just in the name of saving lives. I don't know what they'll do next. But this is what I do know, what I've done. I bought me a pack from Wellness Company here where you can get this if you want to help detox your body from the shot everybody had to get like me, and if you're sitting here with a permanent side effect like I am, you're probably going to want to get something like this. It's called the Spike Support. Or you could get the medical emergency kit right here, which everyone should have because you can see what comes in it. And if they do pull something again, you're probably not going to be able to get this because of what they'll do again. But you can right now. That's the point. And I wanted to tell you about it because I'm taking advantage of it too. So make sure you click the link below and you'll get a discount code along with it. Now, sorry for the long introduction, but again, my life's been affected greatly by it, and I want to discuss it with you guys and let you know. And if you join the Freedom Zone, you'll find out a lot more about what we do in there. It costs almost nothing. Federal Reserve leaves interest rates unchanged, remains 5.25% to 5.5%. Now, with that being said, let's hear very quickly from Jerome Powell how quickly we may see a cut to come.
The question will be whether the totality of the data, the evolving outlook, and the balance of risks are consistent with rising confidence on inflation and maintaining a solid labor market. If that test is met, a reduction in our policy rate could be on the table as soon as the next meeting in September.
So we could see something next month, but they got to see some other things happen in order for that to take place. However, you know who this is, Jim Rickards. XRP Snot Rocket says Dig Perspectives could Ripple become this national bank Jim Rickards is referring to in this clip to provide liquidity in the American System 2.0. I've always entertained the notion that Ripple could certainly become the Fed 2.0, but this is a great clip, obviously with Jim Rickards. Take a listen.
Be joined by the one and only Jim Rickards of Strategic Intelligence. Now, yesterday we had EJ Antoni on the show talking about how we just basically broke $35 trillion in national debt, barreling towards an additional $1.4 trillion just by the end of this year. If we ever needed President Trump back in office to take the wheels off this inflationary train wreck, I think you could probably make the case.
Thanks, Natalie. That's right. The deficit, or not the deficit, the debt is $35 trillion. The debt to GDP ratio, so you take the debt divided by GDP, that's 135%. That's the highest in U.S. history by far, and one of the highest in the world. There are two ways out of that. One is reduce the debt. Well, I'm not counting on that. I'm not very optimistic about that. The debt's going to keep going up. But the other one is to increase growth. If you can moderate the numerator but increase the denominator, basically grow the economy faster, you will gradually reduce that ratio. So then the question is, what is the growth plan? And I've followed this very closely with President Trump and now J.D. Vance on board. They have a very definite plan. And the pundits and all the the usual suspects of the Financial Times and the Economist, the New York Times, the Washington Post, and all that. Some of them are just guessing. They really don't know what they're talking about, but they'll put something out there. Others are a little closer to the reality, but they put a very negative spin on it. So Trump is going to put tariffs. That's very likely, probably on China, but not just China, other countries around the world. His advisors on that are Peter Navarro and Robert Lighthizer, both brilliant economists. They know exactly what they're doing. So the more simple-minded, journalists and PhD economists say, well, if you put tariffs on, you're going to get inflation. Not necessarily. You might get a one-time bump in some things, but what you're going to do is encourage U.S. industry and U.S. growth. What Trump is really saying to the world is, hey, if you want to sell in the United States, that's fine, but build it here. If you want to sell it here, build it here, and increase investment in the United States, increase high-paying jobs. And by the way, this has a 235-year pedigree. This is what Alexander Hamilton proposed in the opening days of the Washington administration in 1789. It was followed in later years by John Quincy Adams and Henry Clay, who was the Speaker of the House. But they gave it the name the American System. And it has four parts. One is high tariffs to protect U.S. industry. The other one is a infrastructure investment. So things that we all know about the Intercontinental, the Erie Canal and the Transcontinental Railroad and so forth, they were part of this. One is a national bank, not like the Federal Reserve that's trying to do too many things and micromanage the economy, and they don't do a very good job of it, but just simply a bank that would provide liquidity as needed so that commerce can grow and merchants could grow.
Did you just hear that? Let me give that to you again.
infrastructure investment. So things that we all know about the intercontinental, the Erie Canal and the Transcontinental Railroad and so forth, they were part of this. One is the national bank, not like the Federal Reserve that's trying to do too many things and micromanage the economy, and they don't do a very good job of it, but just simply a bank that would provide liquidity as needed so that commerce can grow and merchants could grow. And then finally, a strong defense to ward off invasion and piracy, not to go around the world conquering, but just to protect the United States itself. So that was the four-part program of the American system. By the way, one of the biggest implementers of it was Abraham Lincoln. And then there's a line to William McKinley, and then more recently, Dwight Eisenhower, Ronald Reagan, and Donald Trump. So as I said, but there's another side that started with Jefferson and Madison, and then through other presidents, the Jacksonian presidents, Andrew Jackson, sure, Martin Van Buren, James Knox Polk, but really getting acceleration, Woodrow Wilson, Truman, JFK, Carter, Clinton, Obama, and the Bushes as well. They're in on this, and Obama and Biden, which is the globalist camp. They proclaim free trade. There's no such thing as free trade. There's no free trade in the world. Everybody has subsidies, and they steal intellectual property. They put up non-tariff barriers. And more importantly, the input factors, the whole idea of comparative advantage. I'm better at one thing, you're better at something else, so shouldn't we trade? Well, that's true until the factors get up and move. And that's what happened with China. They stole their intellectual property. BlackRock and Vanguard and all the rest put money in. So they had the capital and the intellectual property. And so they just built their own comparative advantage from nowhere. They're going to put an end to that. So I'm very optimistic about this, what I call the American System 2.0. As I said, the pedigree goes back to Alexander Hamilton and Abraham Lincoln and Ronald Reagan and others. And the way you get out of the debt trap, probably not going to get rid of the debt anytime soon, but you can grow faster.
And there you have it. But I tell you, look, Ripple, a national bank, I have entertained for years, even before I was in YouTube in 2017 when I first got in, basically, and really started diving deep down into this. My oldest brother and I came over to Fed's or Ripple's like the new Federal Reserve, or maybe a national bank, right? Lender of last resort. I don't know where this goes. I tell you, I'm super excited about this. But listen, things are happening. Take a look at this. We know Cynthia Lummis, Senator Lummis, has introduced her Bitcoin Act. We're going to look at it in a second. The wait is over, she says. This is our Louisiana Purchase moment. Now, I'm not a historian, but I do remember the Louisiana Purchase actually doubled the United States in size. It was a very big moment in our history. And Perry Ann Boring from the Digital Chamber here says the Bitcoin Act of 2024 not only strengthens the U.S. dollar, but also offers a practical and coherent strategy to alleviate the U.S. debt crisis. Irresponsible monetary policies have saddled millennials and Gen Z with overwhelming debt. By incorporating Bitcoin, the best performing asset class globally, into our strategic reserves, we can safeguard our economic leadership for future generations. Thank you to Senator Lummis for your courage and unwavering leadership in championing this bill and leading Bitcoin policy in Washington. Let's look at the bill very quickly. Here it is right here. Cynthia Lummis publishes official strategic Bitcoin reserve bill. Now, there was a bill, and I don't know if this is the one because the link's not here, but we'll find out. There's the full bill right there. But one of these bills, whether it's this one or not, and I will confirm this for all of us, is also offering to revalue the price of gold by taking the gold certificates back from the Fed, repricing them at the Treasury, and then giving them back to the Fed. Now, I don't know if that's in this bill, and I'll clarify, but there has been a bill that's been introduced. If it's this bill, I'll make that clarification in the next video or by tomorrow. But let's look at this now. What are the 6 biggest banks using Ripple? Because we'd like to know. Yeah. What a great reminder this is for everybody in here. Ripple is the network. RippleNet is the network processing cross-border payments, as we all know. PNC Bank is using it. Santander Bank is using Ripple. Standard Chartered Bank using Ripple. Qualix using Ripple. And SEB is what I'm going with. I'm not going to try to pronounce that. We'll be stuck for 20 minutes. Mitsubishi UFG is also doing it. We know them as MUFG, right? and JP Morgan Chase. How about that? UBS. Look at all of this. Look at all of this. I mean, look. Bank of America. I don't know what else to say, right? It's clarity, ladies and gentlemen. It's legislative clarity. Certainly the ruling in the case isn't going to hurt either, right? But that's what we're talking about. And giving everybody a real digital dollar like the real USD stablecoin on the Ethereum network and the XRP ledger may prove to be a way for the people that are stuck on the Ethereum ledger as a mass exodus to get off of it. Wanted to hit you with this very quickly, too, from Wrath of Khan. An April cross-border report from DeFine points out that Ripple payments cost are before transactions, while Swift GPI are after. And it says also fewer chances for failure. Overall, it's one of the best synopsises of Ripple and XRP to date. Well, we love that for them. And that's good for us in the long run, too. Let's look at what's going on here. We know XRP market liquidity hit $3 billion as bulls are targeting 70 cents, but we have yet to do so. We're at 60 right now, cooling off from 65 cents, but I think it's in the works. It's coming. Hawker, XRP Hawker, says here, based on spring 2017 fractal, this is what his thoughts are. XRP is anticipated to soar approximately to $6.10 by the end of this month. I don't have a problem with that at all. This surge will likely be followed by a correction to $2.38 by September. All right, roller coaster ride, leading to a final upswing around $32, effectively concluding the alt season by November 5th on Election Day. Well, I tell you what, I don't know if XRP Hawker's right or not, and I don't want to be mad at him if he isn't. I appreciate him putting it out there. We're going to watch and see. If it's validated, that'll be great, really great. If it's not validated, we'll know that it's not this time, right? But we do know that there are things that technical analysts are seeing on the charts that are worth paying very, very close attention to. Huge conversation last night in the DPMG about exit strategies, cold storage, all those kinds of things, protecting, maintaining your wealth. One of the best conversations we had last night, and we've had some amazing conversations. That's quite a hype bar. If you want to join, you can do it. But right now, we're going into the Freedom Zone, and we got to cover some incredible things that are very sensitive to our nation, let alone the crypto clarity that we need and deserve to help not only ourselves who have fought for it for so long, but for the United States to remain a superpower and a leader in the fourth industrial revolution. Not financial advice from me or anyone else. I'll catch all of you in the Freedom Zone.